Good evening, my viewers. Welcome to another edition of Essential Inspirational Highlights. My viewers, right now I am feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. Look at all these bills. How am I going to pay all of these bills, my viewers? I am just overwhelmed. I don't have enough money to pay these bills. And it seems like I'm spending more than what I'm earning. I'm having a hard time keeping track of when these bills are due. Oh my goodness. This car note was due 5 days ago. And I have to pay a $10 late fee on top of the car note. Oh my. And this house note is due on next week. I guess I better pay this house note because last month I was late and I had to pay a $50 late fee. Oops. I forgot about the gas bill again. Well, there goes another $10 late fee. What is this? My viewers, I have a disconnection notice from the light company. Past due bill was $500 and they charged me a 5% late fee. And that 5% late fee is $25. And they also billed me for $75 for a disconnection notice fee. This is $100 worth of fees. And the bill was $500. Now I owe $600. Oh my, the bills keep piling up. Oh no. $5,000 balance on my credit card. And the minimum payment due is $120. And look at the annual percentage rate, 29%. No wonder why I can never pay out this credit card bill. And I'm still paying for that cruise I took for Alaska 3 years ago. My, I need to pay more than it. I need to pay more than this minimum payment to pay off this whole credit card bill. I never get out of debt fooling with that high interest rate bill. Oh, no. What is this? What is this, my viewers? What is this? This is from my bank. A notice of insufficient funds. The amount of the check was $5 and they charged me a $50 insufficient bank fee of $55 on a $5 check. Wait a minute. I thought it was one. I have two notices. Two notices from the bank of insufficient funds. And this check was $35. Another $55 insufficient fund bank fee. $110 worth of insufficient fund fees from the bank. Well, so much for my tithes and offering. Let's see, do I have any money left over? Let's see, let me check out my purse here. Let me check out my purse. I don't see no money in here. There's nothing in here. Well, I have no money left over from my tithes and offering this month. I mean, nada, nothing to contribute. After paying all these bills and extra fees, I don't have any money left over to pay my tithes and offerings. Well, Hopefully next month, I will have something left over to contribute to the church. Of course, after I pay all my bills. My listeners, this is a scenario of what could happen when you have veered off track and lost control of your finances. On this evening, I will empower you to manage and gain back control of your finances so you can be a better manager. My scripture lesson text for this evening will be coming from Genesis, the 41st chapter, verses 1 through 7, and verses 33 and 36. Beginning with the first verse of Genesis, the 41st chapter. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine, which means these were healthy cows, and they were very, very fat flesh, and they fed in a meadow, healthy, strong cows. And behold, the third verse, and behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored. These were sickly cows, and they were skinny cows, and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. In verse 4, and the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke. So you have the healthy, fat cows eating up the sickly cows and skinny. Starting with the 5th verse through the 7th verse. And he slept and dreamed the second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And now starting with the 33rd verse. Now therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man, discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. Verses 35 and 36. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. And my topic for this evening, keep your finances on the right path. Let me repeat that topic again. Keep your finances on the right path. Prior to this lesson, Joseph was placed in jail due to a false accusation from Potiphar's wife. Also, Pharaoh was angry with his chief butler and chief baker. They were both placed in jail. While in prison, the chief baker and chief butler had dreams. Joseph interpreted their dreams, and everything happened just as he predicted. The chief baker was executed by hanging, and the chief butler was released from jail. The chief butler's job was restored back with Pharaoh, and he completely forgot about Joseph and putting in a good word concerning him. 2 years later, Pharaoh had 2 dreams which disturbed him deeply. He called for the magicians and the wise men from Egypt. Nobody could interpret Pharaoh's dreams. God works in mysterious ways. Finally, the chief butler spoke up about Joseph. He told Pharaoh how Joseph was able to interpret his dream along with the chief baker's dream. Upon the chief butler's recommendation, Pharaoh made a request to have Joseph come in and interpret the 2 dreams. Joseph told Pharaoh that it was God that would give him the interpretation of the dreams. The 2 dreams that Pharaoh had indicated the same thing. The repetition of the dream meant it was very important and it was definitely coming to pass. There will be 7 years of plenty, meaning abundance, good crop, and prosperity, beginning soon, and 7 years of famine, meaning scarcity, food crisis, and starvation. After interpreting the dream, Joseph gave Pharaoh a 14-year master plan, which would help Egypt survive the famine. Now, the last verses that I read in Genesis, in verses 33 to 36, those detail the initiatives and plan of action that Joseph outlined for Pharaoh to implement. Pharaoh was very pleased, and he immediately appointed Joseph to be in charge. Joseph was second in command after Pharaoh. So, my viewers, I know you're wondering, how will this lesson help me? First, thank God for giving you your health and strength so you can work every day. Your income is God's provision. Utilize your income wisely. Ask God to help you so you will become a good steward with your finances. Like Joseph, allow God to use you so you will be able to help others in life. Joseph gave Pharaoh a 14-year master plan to survive a famine. His plan saved Egypt from starvation. My listeners, I'm sharing with you an effective tool that will help you throughout your lifetime. It will help you to live within your means. And I know you're wondering, what is this tool? It's a budget. A budget will help you manage and organize your finances so you will be able to withstand life circumstances, uncertainties in the future. You will be better prepared for emergency. Well, let me say that again. You will be better prepared for emergencies ahead. Examples like layoffs, company closings, car repairs, house repairs, sickness, the pandemics, etc. The list goes on. With a budget, you will be able to track your spending and see where you are overspending. It makes you aware of what's going on with your money. Take an inventory of all the bills that you have, how much you owe, how much you spend, and how much you save. Be prepared to spend some time. It's necessary. Like Joseph, I want to share some information that will help you to manage your money effectively. Let's take a look at some of the documents on the PowerPoint. Okay, set goals. That's important to you. Now, these are some of my goals. Emergency fund. So this is very important. Have an emergency fund to cover living expenses for 1 year. Saving for retirement, paying off debt, purchasing a home. So these are just some examples. You have, so write your examples. And goals give you something to strive for, and it helps you to take control of your financial decisions. So that's important, setting goals. Know the difference between needs and wants. And what are needs? Necessities. Essentials we will have, essentials we must have to survive. Those were needs. And some examples: food, shelter, and clothing. And wants, that means desires. Something you would like to have and can live without. So you can live without dining out. Cable and a cruise vacation. So you make up your wants. So these are some very good examples. So if you're having a hard time saving money and you find yourself continuously getting into debt because of your wants, you need to start cutting these items out of your budget until you get your spending under control. You need to get your financial house in order. So cut out the wants until you get that budget in control. Now, this is an example of a personal budget. And I have the budget month of January. Now, if you look at this document, I have a column with categories, projected amount, action amount, and notes. So basically, you want to start off listing your income, all the money that's coming in. You write an estimate. That's what projected means. Projected means estimate. So in this first column, you're writing down your estimates of your income first. All the money that's coming into your household, you're estimating how much and write your total. And then you have your expenses. These are your bills. You're estimating how much money you expect to spend. And before the end of the month, you're going to write your real totals. Okay, that's what actual means, the real amount that you're actually spending. You're writing in the second total. Now, if you look at the bills, notice the first thing I have on mine, I have nonprofit charitable organizations, the church. Now, you don't want to be guilty of robbing God. So give him his 10% of your income. And again, you want to pay God first. You pay God first before you pay all your bills, because if you pay all your bills first, you won't have anything left over. From that scenario, there was nothing left over. So give God his money first. 10% from the top. Give him your best. So that's the first thing you do. Pay your tithes. You don't want to give God any leftovers. He deserves the best. So give him 10% of the income. Now, your second expense, and also I have two. If you want to give another organization, your church, maybe some other nonprofit organizations, feel free. Savings account, you want to pay yourself. And that is a bill, yourself. And again, you want to save at least 10%. for yourself. So God first, he gets the first 10%, and then yourself second. You get the second 10%. If you can save more than 10%, you save more. So make it your goal to save at least 10%. And you want to have a surplus of at least 6 months to 1 year of living expenses. And notice I have a column for notes. So if you want to make some notes, this is your little section. I'm going to continue on with the budget. Okay, I have some more categories, and you can say you can be as detailed and organized as you want. And life insurance is very important. We should have some life insurance, but like I said, this is just more categories that I have listed. And this works easy for me. Continue on with more categories of all the bills. You may have more or less. Okay, now we get into the last page of your of the budget. Now, when you have completed estimating all of your bills, all your expenses, you write your total. Okay, remember, before the end of the month, you want to write down the real totals that you actually spent and made. Okay, and you write that total. Now, this is very important. Before you get to your, well, let me explain the next step before I explain what's very important. After you have tallied your amounts, your estimated projected amounts, and your actual amounts, you have your balance. This is how much money you have left over. Okay, and so your balance, what you're doing, you're subtracting the amounts that you spent, your total expenses, your bills, from the money that you made, your income. And that would be telling you how much money you have left over for each column. The next step, which I was saying is very, very important. When you complete your budget, you want to go back and compare both of these columns. You compare your projected amounts with your actual amounts. Now, the purpose of that, you want to see if you stay committed to your plan of action. And also you can discover from both of these columns if you went over or under. So your actual amount, you can actually look at that and say, okay, wait a minute, I spent more than I anticipated than what I projected. So if you spent more in your actual column than what you projected, well, you need to cut back. You need to make some notes over here. You need to come back in this area. You go line by line through each expense to see did you stay on track. And if you spent less, if you actually spent less than what you projected, well, you have some extra money. Okay. And so this is where you can start making some adjustments to your spending and the budget itself. So you need to identify areas where you can cut back to save money. Now, if you have a negative balance on your budget, well, you need to really think in terms of whether you need to find a part-time job. You know, if you see that like in January, you spent more money than what you earned, and then in February it's coming up the same thing, you need to find yourself a part-time job. Cut back on your spending. And if you're having a hard time, get a part-time job and come up with some strategies where you can cut back on some of those expenses. You remember those expenses that I talked about on those wants? You may need to cut off that cable. You may need to reduce dining out and start, if you're working, you may need to bring some brown bag lunches to work and not going out to eat. Okay, I'm giving you some examples how you can cut back. And that coffee, well, you may need to make some coffee at home rather than going out drinking coffee. So I'm just giving you some little ideas on how you can cut back, but you need to cut back on that spending to get your financial house in order. And this is the way you can write your notes. These expenses can ruin your budget. And you always want to leave some extra money too in your budget. But these expenses on this slide can ruin your budget. High interest credit card bills, they can tear up your budget. High interest loans. And again, let me repeat that, dining out, going out to eat, that can kill your budget. Takeouts, delivery, and cable. Now, I want to give you some strategies of paying off credit cards. And there are several strategies, but because of time, I can't go through all of them, but I will share some strategies. If you have, I'm giving an example. If you have 3 credit cards, okay, and look at the different balances and look at the interest rates. If you have 3 credit cards, one strategy you can use, you can focus on paying the credit card with the lowest balance first. Example, credit card 3 has the lowest balance, $2,000. And focus on the lowest credit card, pay more than a minimum payment, pay as much as you can. But while you're paying on this credit card 3, continue making the minimum payments on credit card 1 and 2, but focus more attention on credit card 3. And the reason why, you will feel a sense of accomplishment once you pay off this lowest credit card. Okay, so that's one strategy. Another strategy, if you're concerned about the interest rate, because notice this $5,000 credit card bill has a 29% annual percentage rate. So you can concentrate on this $5,000 bill. Credit card 1, pay as much as you can, okay? And again, pay the minimum payment on credit card 2 and 3 while you focus on paying off this credit card. And again, you may want to get a part-time job that will help you in your endeavor to get out of debt. Now, a third strategy, well, it's not a strategy. You can call your creditors, and you may ask them, is there any way that they can reduce your credit card annual percentage rate to make it lower, so you want to pay all those pay extra money. That's another deal. Another strategy, if you can pay this off in 1 year, you may be thinking about transferring this to a lower cost credit card. You have some promotions that are paying 0%. However, like I said, if you can pay it off within a year, because most of those promotions are like 12 months. And after the 12 months, it will go up again. So if you're interested, you may want to Google it and see if you can pay it off within a year to save you some money on that annual percentage rate. If not, like I said, you have some strategies that I just suggested. So whatever suits you, whatever works for you, use that strategy. But the ultimate goal is for you to pay off your credit card debts and paying less interest on the credit cards to save money. And make sure that you pay your bills on time so that you won't incur any late fees or delinquent fees. So pay your bills on time. Keep track of paying your bills on time. My viewers, to keep track of paying your bills on time, I suggest using a monthly calendar like this. This will keep you on track. Notice I said a monthly calendar and not a weekly calendar. You can see everything in full view. For the whole month, you can see it. And basically what you do, write your bills. And like I have here, I'm just giving an example here. Write the bill and also write the amount of the bill so you know how much it is. You won't be caught by surprises. And this works for me. Okay, and when you pay it off, you can put a check mark on it as you pay it off. But this works, and you will never forget. Oh, I have a bill that's due. Have it, and those bills that you have once a year, make sure you put those bills on the calendar and put it on your personal budget too. If you have bills, like an example, you may have your property taxes, your HOA dues, homeowner association dues. You may have your flood insurance that's due once a year. You need to make sure you have it in your personal budget as well too. And also your monthly calendar, so you won't be caught off guard with those high bills. You won't be caught off, you won't be surprised or caught off guard, and you have the money saved up. Now, another tip: those bills that you have that come once a year, divide it by 12 and put that in your personal budget. So you already have the money when the bill is due. My listeners, honor God with the tithes, 10% of the income, and save at least 10% of the income. Set goals and live below your means. Spend less than what you earn. Stick to your budget. Plan, plan, plan. I can't emphasize that. You have to plan. Okay? You just can't spend money off the top of your head. Plan before you spend. Look at your budget, and that will determine how much you can spend. And we can learn a lesson from the ant in Proverbs, the 30th chapter, verses 24 to 25. There are 4 things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceeding wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. Ants plan for the future. If a little creature like an ant can work during the summer and look ahead for the future, and they do plan for those raining cold days, we as humans have no excuse. Like Joseph, depend on God and allow him to use you so you can help others with some solid advice. It's not how much money you make. It's what you do with what you make. Cut back on your spending. My viewers, take the time to listen to my first financial video from January 2021. It's entitled, Be a Good Steward of What God Has Given You. That YouTube video explains budgeting in more depth. My listeners, God expects us to make wise financial decisions. He also requires us to do what we can with what we have. The budget is a roadmap to be utilized to keep our finances on the right path. Thank you, my viewers, for tuning in this evening to Essential Inspirational Highlights. I am your host, Sister Janie. I will be back in 2 weeks on Friday, February the 11th, 2022. Have a good evening.